Good morning, Bitcoin Nation. All right, we are live. Welcome to the show, everybody. Let's get Macro on up here. Let's see, throw him an invite. Let's see. It is June 18th, Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. And we are ready to go.
Hello.
Macro. What's up, brother? Oh, I think you're cutting out there.
Show that has good signal.
Oh, are you on the road?
I was just saying I'm about to pull over at a spot that has good service. If you give me like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no worries, man. Take your time.
So you can.
Okay, 5 minutes.
Monologue or.
Yeah, I'll just monologue. I want to chat about. I want to wait for you to talk about this because have you heard of Banana Game?
It sounds familiar, but it's not.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna get a huge kick out of this. So I'll wait till you pull over and then we'll chat. Welcome to the show. Yeah, you're cutting out pretty good. I'll be honest. So I'll wait till you can, because I'd love to get some of your take on this.
Sounds good.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna invite some guys to come up. Let's see. Well, good morning, guys. I am getting on a plane in about 4 or 5 hours. So there's a chance I might have to leave the space 10 minutes early to catch my Uber. So quick heads up for the end of the show. However, I'm excited for today's show. I think we have a couple of people coming on the last hour, and we're going to chat branding in Bitcoin. And we've got some awesome personalities. I haven't, they said they're going to come. So maybe not. If not, I kind of want to push off this topic until we have a panel that I'm excited about, because I think this is an important part of what we're doing here. And I would like to get some experts on this because especially when it comes to branding in Bitcoin, it could be super powerful. I mean, for your business or your personal brand.
Are you telling me that you have credentialed experts coming on?
Well, here's the thing. In Bitcoin, who is credentialed? No, it's kind of a free for all in this space. So,
I would say everybody at the Bitcoin Bugle would refute that.
Oh, so yeah, that's
better be careful.
That's a good point, man. That's a fantastic point.
You might find yourself on the wrong end of a hit piece article.
I know. Here's the thing: I don't fear a lot of things, but the Bitcoin Bugle, man, they'll take you down. Those guys are brutal.
It's very accurate journalism, in my opinion.
The most accurate.
Oh yeah, that's actually where I get all my news. So first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I go over to the Bitcoin Bugle, and I make sure that I'm up to date on all the goings on. Because if it's not being published on the Bitcoin Bugle, is it even worth reading?
It's not real news.
It's all fake. It's the only trusted source in my life right now. Okay, Macro, check this out. I'm putting it in the nest. So, it almost feels like the NFT stuff is coming back, but right now, one of the number one games in the Steam store is this game. It's just called Banana. It's literally just called Banana. So essentially what it is you open up this game and there's a window on your screen and you sit there and you click as many times as you can. And then there's a drop, Steam drop of like a different skin or picture of a banana. There's like frozen banana, there's like static banana, space banana, all of these different bananas. And people are it's the number one downloaded game on Steam right now, and people are like downloading it and doing like the auto clickers with like different virtual machines to try to get as many drops as they possibly can because the game is free. But these bananas are selling for like $100, all this stuff. So it really legitimately just feels like the NFT craze all over again, except it's not tied to any project. It's not tied to anything. It's literally part of a game. And the funniest thing is with this banana game, the bananas you get, they're not even skins. You can't even like use them in the game, bro. They literally are just pictures of bananas.
Oh man. Well, I
They're
mean,
not
if
even
anything, it
skins,
proves that
bro.
you. If anything, it proves that you don't need the shitcoin NFT
Yes.
protocol to have this stupidity go on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone's like, "Oh, but the NFTs, dude, they're on the blockchain. Like, look at this. Look, you could put them on the blockchain, and you could prove that." It's like, dude, yeah, it's the same thing, except it's easier, right? Now it's like it makes more sense. It's still there. You still own your whatever, you know. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I didn't even think of it that way. This is like a better version of NFTs, and it's even more of a clown show because it's taken the mask off what people thought was.
Dude, this is why when the last time NFTs were really big, I had this thing where anytime I would get on stage and people would start talking about it, it was just, I'm not interested in digital fidget spinners. Like, I'm just, like, I'm just not interested at all. You're like, oh, but my fidget spinner has four
Yeah.
prongs instead of three, and it's super balanced. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, fuck off. I don't
Yeah.
care.
And the funny thing is, so this is even bleeding into, so right now you can go onto Roblox and then play banana game in Roblox to get skins for the banana game in a Roblox blocks game. And you can do the same thing in Fortnite too. Here, I'll put this in the nest. But apparently, you go into this Fortnite server and you play this banana game where you just click a billion times to get these skins of bananas.
I like how Cosmo says apparently, like he hasn't been doing this all the time. And
This has been
also, is that why your pick is yellow now? Because you're like into the banana
Look, he
thing?
thinks I was
exactly.
just about to say that. Dang it, you beat me to it, kiddo.
Gotcha.
I was like, this is the real reason for the
Going deep,
rebrand. Now
Yeah.
we
going
get
deep,
it. He's
right? He's
addicted to the
rebranding
banana
yellow
game.
Full
because he's
disclosure,
into the
guys.
banana game.
If anybody wants my fire banana and my ice banana, they're right now on sale on the Steam store. So you can either hit me up in the DMs.
Just one
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Well, the ice banana is 1.5
He wants to trade for a
because
different banana.
yeah. I'm looking for the clown banana because that will really, really put put the nail in the coffin on the whole banana thing. So if anybody wants,
You gotta tell Yellow about this because I'm pretty sure the memes that he would make would be
oh
hilarious, and he's
yes.
already yellow anyways. It's a banana. Like maybe he actually started this game. Who knows? I would love to hear his take on it and or see whatever memes he comes up with because I'm sure they'd be brilliant.
I'm tagging him in one of these posts because legitimately that would be super funny. Wait, hold on. I also want to send this post or tag this space as well. See if he'll jump on. Because honestly, it was killing me when I saw this, man, because it's such a joke.
It's just like it's basically the culmination of like dopamine just injected straight into your head from a screen. Like it's all I can think of with this is like any of those experiments they did with mice or lab rats, mice or
Mhm.
whatever, where they're just clicking a fucking button to just get another hit of cocaine, and it's like this is basically the human version of that, but instead of cocaine, you just get a new banana skin. And then gradually over time, people stop getting the dopamine hits from the banana skins, and then you just end up depressed with a bunch of digital fucking bananas.
Oh yeah.
And like nothing else to show for it. And that's how this ends in about 3 weeks when everybody forgets about this stupid game. Oh man, it's so
Yeah.
bad. It's like I'm generally a positive person, and I would say I'm fairly white pilled, but stuff like this, I'm just like, all right, I'm trying to have my hope in humanity maintained, and you're just shattering it for me
Yeah.
right now. So I would like you to please stop breaking or bursting my bubble of positivity about humanity with this stupid banana game.
But I think like what you're saying earlier,
Macro's in rough shape over this.
yeah. He just took the black pill. The banana is a black pill, actually.
It's the yellow
Yeah.
pill, dude. And the yellow pill is we all just sit here in the Matrix clicking on bananas while they're like, I don't know, using the finger clicks for
Oh
energy
yeah,
or
there you go.
something. I don't know how the Matrix
That
works,
sounds
but
about right.
this is it.
Yeah. But I
Oh,
think what you're saying is super accurate, though. I think that like what I keep seeing, I think, is that all of these scams that have popped up in the last like 10 years, they keep getting refined and refined. Not like they don't become more convoluted. They become more pure of like more obviously what they actually are as time goes on, because people more unabashedly just do the thing without the guise or the mask of what they want it to be, to like what it actually is. So I mean, this is what NFTs were from the beginning, right? And oh, here's Yellow. Yes, Yellow. Let's bring you up. I want to get your take on this whole banana stuff, man. Let's
Good morning, Yellow.
Yellow invented the banana game.
It
This is his
honestly,
Yeah, this
game,
is
and this
it's
is how he actually
definitely,
makes his
yeah.
money.
it wouldn't surprise me. This feels like this feels
Look, he can't get away from the branding. The whole thing is yellow. The banana's yellow. The background is yellow. It's just very
you've
obviously a
shown your
psyop.
hand. You've shown your hand. um
What is this?
Yellow, have you seen this banana game?
No.
Okay, so essentially what it is, it's like, so on Steam right now, the number one game on Steam is a game, it's called Banana. It's free. And essentially what it is, you go and you click on this banana like 100 or 1,000 times, and then Steam will drop you like a different banana, whether it's like a blue banana, an ice banana, a space banana, or all a different kind of banana, and then you can sell them on the Steam store. So it's like NFTs without the extra steps of a blockchain or whatever.
Oh, it's so bad, dude.
Oh, it's honest NFTs.
Yeah, it's just NFTs, but they're being honest about what it actually is.
Yeah, basically we're just JPEGs.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's what it appears to be. We were worried that you were behind this.
Now, I hope I was. And does it do great? Does it do great numbers? Can I get a cut somehow?
I mean,
If
if you
I'm
get a really
I
rare
don't know. He was
banana, I guess you can sell it for something
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Clown banana? Is that really a thing, Cosmo?
Oh,
What's the ratio? Like 1,000 bananas? What's the ratio?
let's see. So it depends on what banana you get. The rarer the skin, the more you can get. But I'm looking here at the ones that are on sale. Let me try to pull up some ones that are on sale.
Some discount banana.
Yeah.
really what this is Cosmo. He felt guilty, right? Because he must have played this game for like 6 hours or something this weekend, and he's trying to make his money back. So now he's marketing this, and he's trying to get us to buy
Yeah,
his
he's like, oh,
bananas. That's
there's
really
this
what.
really rare one. It's on sale.
Do
Yeah, oh
they
my
do they
It's
Is he
get
really him
pumping on
like
us?
trying to get his money back.
yeah. So
Cosmo's
does
pumping
the
on us so he can
does
dump
the
on us.
value go down if they get the browner or something? What happened?
actually,
Are they rotten bananas?
there is a brown banana that's already expired that you can get, but the one that I'm trying to get rid. I'm not trying to get rid of. This is a very rare banana that I'm offering to everybody. It's called Cyber Banana, and it's a computerized banana. It's for a low price of $60 right now in the Steam store. So
low price.
If you want to go and buy my banana so I can buy more sats, you are welcome to my banana.
Yeah, but
He's
what's
lying.
the ratio?
He's just gonna buy more bananas.
What's the ratio to what?
One banana for, like one banana for a sat. What is it?
$60. You can have it for $60.
$60.
That is way too
Or
expensive,
you can have.
sir. I can go get bananas right now. Aren't they like they're like $2.50 for a bunch, dude? I'm just gonna go around here and I'm gonna get bananas and take pictures of them, and I'm gonna figure out how to get those on the Steam store, and they're gonna be real bananas. You guys, if you buy the JPEG, you'll own the banana in real life, because I said so. Apparently,
That's
I'm
true,
the oracle actually in this. And for the low price of $50,
So
I'll be your banana
So
oracle.
1,000 banana JPEGs gets me banana bread or something.
By the way, it only costs $100 to actually get a game onto Steam. So all you have to do is sell 2 bananas and you break even.
Ooh, there you go.
Okay. You know what? I'm in favor of this game. I'm in favor of this game because it takes out retardedness out of our space and it brings them and it gets them to the Steam platform. So I'm in favor.
Yeah, this is great. We're flushing out all of the stupidity out of quote unquote crypto, and we're gonna just push it on to Steam. I honestly think that Steam needs more of that.
Yeah, you should go to
Steam already has enough retarded games on it. Like the $100 like window or the $100 like cost of entry is stopping none of these scammers.
You should all whoever does NFTs, you don't really need the blockchain. So go to Steam, upload it in some dude's server, and you're done.
Yeah.
CSGO was the
That's
original
the same-
NFT market before the NFTs even existed.
I'm telling you, man, it's digital fidget spinners. That's what it is, and you don't need any kind of protocol for it. It's just JPEGs. It's just skins in video games. Literally this time though, because it's banana skins in a video game, which makes it even funnier.
I found.
Oh man, it's.
I found a good one. This one's sad
Go ahead.
hamster banana. So it's a banana, but the picture is the picture of a sad hamster. That's.
Is it distorted? Could you share that?
Oh, it's just a terrible picture. Here, let me see if I can. I think the quality is going to be absolutely.
So now I'm like mildly angry at you because I want to start looking up like what types of bananas there are.
After the show today, Kendall's just gonna. She's gonna
like,
wake
is there a
up,
pink glitter banana that I might be interested in? I don't know.
Give me 20 minutes and a little bit of time behind Photoshop, okay? I got you.
If you find any bananas with angry eyebrows, hit me up. That's infringement, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to sue them.
Yes, exactly. I think here's the thing is I bet you that there is a banana that's been created that we have some sort of precedence over and we can get after, because it looks like there's a lot of money to be made here. So if we can find an angle to bring this to court, I think we can make a lot of money, you guys.
No. What you have to do, I'm going to talk to Brad about this because he's got his miner mastery event coming up. We're going to have to figure out how to mine bananas. I mean, it sounds like you can mine bananas, and then you just convert those into sats. You'll probably make more that way.
We can also claim that I'm the original Satoshi of the project and go to court. We just have to find like a hot or not person and sue that guy.
Yeah.
Banana person.
Yes, exactly. I think if we were to do that too, we'd have precedence and claim over all bananas in existence too. So we could reclaim the bananas and then decide which ones are rare, which ones are not, and then pump them back out there. I think we've got a good plan here.
We just need to forge some papers from Chiquita company, and we're done. We're good.
Exactly. I think as soon as we do that, we won't need Bitcoin anymore, right? Because we'll already be rich.
True.
This is content creation happening like in real life.
This is actually an NFT space. That's how those spaces go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is the new NFT space. This is the honest NFT space for those just tuning in. We're being extremely honest about what NFTs are. They're pictures of bananas that you can click for on Steam.
I gotta go, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for coming, y'all.
Bye, Yellow.
He's going to play the
he's
banana
gonna
game
go.
now.
He's gonna go mine some bananas and
Dude,
dump them all
come
on
up with
us.
some more rare bananas.
Oh man, this like to maybe bring it back to reality just a little bit.
This is reality.
It's crazy, and yeah, unfortunately, you're right. It's crazy what goes viral sometimes, you know, because there's probably 1,000 of these kind of very simple, stupid games out there, but some person talked about it at the right time and the algorithm just grabbed it right. And the next thing you know, there's 100,000 retards just clicking a picture of a banana. And it's like, how does that happen? I'm literally curious sometimes, just what is it that makes something go viral? Because a lot of times it makes no sense.
And I think here's the thing is like, at least what I'm noticing, and you can kind of counter, like the dumber it is, literally, like the dumber it is, the more, and like I was saying earlier, I think it's the pure form of what NFTs actually were. So instead of like pretending it's something it's not, you're like, hey, this is the raw, like straight up junk food, black tar heroin right in your veins. We're not going to disguise it for you. It's not some fancy project that's going to be this or that. It is what it is. You go and you click and you get pictures of banana, and hopefully someone will buy it from you. Like I think that that's kind of how the direction it's going, because like with like, if you're going to be honest about what it is, it's the NFTs are the banana thing. And so the more you can break it down and like boil it down to, does that kind of make sense what I'm trying to get at here?
Yeah, it definitely does. Sorry, I was making a
sick.
meme
Wait.
right now, so if you just give me
Yeah.
1 second. I was tabbed out. I was tabbed out while you were talking. I'm in the process of doing something,
sure.
so you just give me a moment. You guys can
I've
talk
got
amongst
two
yourselves.
other things I wanted to throw up in the nest. Did you guys see this yesterday? I'm trying to decide if this is real. Mars and Kendall, help me out. Because if it is, I feel super bad. But also, I kind of feel like it's not super real. So apparently, this guy, Ram, he claims that the other day, 3 guys physically robbed him at his home. They knew he had crypto, and they like had a machete and forced him to open his ledger and transferred all of his crypto out. And here's the thing is, I believe like this kind of stuff happens, probably, right? Like I can't imagine it never happens, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It feels a little far-fetched to me, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I read that thread last night through all the comments, and I was struggling too with deciding whether or not it was real. Because then there was one comment at one point that said, this is the real one. And there's a bunch of people who like were posting the same thing, but changing the last like sentences. I don't know.
Yeah. And
what was the story?
Yeah. So apparently, this guy posted, he said, it's got like 2.5 million views. So like it's not a small story, but this guy apparently got physically robbed. He got the $5 wrench attack, but instead of a wrench, it was a machete. And some guys forced him to open his ledger and transfer all of the crypto out. And he put the addresses on here, like the transactions. And I'm trying to decide if this is real, because like I was saying, I know this stuff happens. Like I'm not going to say it never happens, but at the same time, like I don't know, it seems a little goofy.
Is this the
Did
new
you see the
boating
comment
accident?
where someone posted like where all the money went, like they were following it, where everything went?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I saw that, and then I the only way that I saw it was somebody retweeted the thing. I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday, and it just said Darif, and I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Where does this guy live? Where did this supposedly take place? Is this in the UK?
Yeah,
I'm trying to
apparently it was in the UK. Like I was
Oh
reading
my
through this,
God.
this happened in London. He says yes, which, you know, like London and knives, man, they're like, they go hand in hand. They're best friends.
Well, plus people in the
But
UK
I
love
thought,
their knives, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
They don't got guns.
But wasn't it a machete?
So
I mean, that's
it's
like
on brand
more than a knife.
for the UK. Big machete, big knife. They always be stabbing each other over
I
there.
know. It's pretty wild over there, but
I love like the accusations of people. They're like, it must be so and so because they like machetes. Like they're all it's way too many racist comments.
oh yeah, the comments are brutal. I'm noticing that more and more with Instagram too. It's oh
hey man,
yeah,
we had
that's
a
true. I
conversation
should
about
I
this. I
shouldn't
don't know if
out
y'all knew it
myself
or
as
not.
thinking those are because it triggers
Yeah,
my
yeah.
brain going, holy crap. So it keeps feeding more.
Yeah, so if y'all don't know this, like your comment section is
It's
curated
wild.
to you, right? In every, it is. And so the way that you figure this out pretty quickly, right, is if you have a significant other and you look at their comment section on the same post, it'll be entirely different. And generally speaking, if your significant other is the opposite sex, their comment section is going to be polar opposite to whatever yours is. And especially if it's somebody who maybe sees things politically differently. My girlfriend and I view the world fairly similarly, so her comment sections tend to be pretty similar to mine. But I've got friends who have significant others whose comment sections are literally the opposite. So you are in your own echo chamber with a lot of these various social media sites. I'm not sure how bad it is with X, but I know with Instagram, it's definitely very curated to be basically your own personal echo chamber. Because people are more likely, I think, to comment or contribute to a post if they feel like everybody else agrees with them. And so I think it's literally like Instagram's way of engagement
Yeah.
farming to make more ad revenue or something. I don't know that, or to keep you on the platform, maybe both.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It feels honestly a little dystopian. That's why I think that what Jack Dorsey came out and said I think it was a couple weeks ago, I think kind of resonated, at least with me, and I know with a lot of other people, just with the way that the news is fed. It's like almost the freedom of speech conversation needs to be put on hold while we talk about like whether or not we actually have free will on the internet, just because like, you know, if you never see something because it's never fed to you and you only see what they want you to see, like to what extent do you have, you know, the freedom to even choose, you know, how you surf the web and the things that you see.
Well, I think with that, you really have to intentionally seek out perhaps stuff that you disagree with, but at least is a good faith
Mm-hmm.
conversation. I know that can be challenging because it can be a little bit difficult sometimes to find just good faith conversations. But for me personally, at least at a scientific level, if there's something that I disagree with, but I know it at least is a conversation that's being had between two people who are
Mm-hmm.
seeking the truth, that I'm willing to listen to it. The challenge is parsing out that, right? And when there's so much information on the internet, it can be very challenging to figure out who's actually acting in good faith versus who's not, which is why, honestly, I do think over time, maybe people gravitate more towards live stuff that they can actually contribute
Right.
to, like this, where it's like, hey, I can get on stage and just actually ask a person something versus a lot of the times I find when I'm listening to a podcast when I'm driving, I'm like, oh man, I wish this
Right. Yeah.
question could be asked right now.
Yeah. And
Whereas like when it's spaces, I just come up and ask the
yeah, and
question,
I think that's the beauty of this platform, and I'm noticing that more and more, especially for those who do social media for a business or something. I think that the things that are really moving right now are the really, really honest content. So the content that's not overproduced, that's super genuine. People are kind of more interested in the process and like kind of real content as opposed to overproduced, you know, overplanned and things like that. And so I think that this falls right into that category because people are like, yeah, I want to see, you know, Weston get up here and just say some dumb shit and for people to roast him, because that's half the fun.
Just talk about bananas for 20
To
minutes.
talk about the dumb new bananas up here. And, it also gives, you guys in the audience too, a chance to come up and chat about it as well, which I think is awesome, because I think everyone needs a space to talk about this kind of stuff, and to, have these conversations and to have
Yeah,
their input too.
if you look at like Clubhouse, the predecessor to Spaces, originally came out, and this was before the pandemic. It originally came out as a live. It was supposed to be like a live radio show
Hmm.
platform where you tune into different rooms and listen to the rooms like as if it's a radio show. But what I think happened was they saw the desire for like live connection between the
Hmm.
audience and the people on stage, right? Kind of similar to the legacy radio shows where you could kind of call in and interact. And so they actually ultimately rebranded to this Clubhouse and actually changed the name to Clubhouse because of the
Interesting.
entire desire and need for that people wanted to come on and they wanted the in real time connection, right? Like I think that's the kind of the magical thing about Spaces and what was Clubhouse or still is Clubhouse is that like you don't have to, right? It's sterilized when it's a podcast, isn't it? Is it not,
Yeah.
to a degree, right? You're just listening to something that's created, you can't interact with it, the conversation goes where it goes, it's predetermined. But this ability to get on and actually affect the conversation, influence, ask questions, get on stage, it's kind of crazy. It's just like it's so cool, and it's like a conference call. It's also
Right.
just a conference call. It's this old concept that's now being reused and innovated on the internet, and like there's gonna be a need for this kind of, I think, not in person but live conversation on the internet that we've lacked for such a long time. Like you
Hmm.
can't do it in text format. It's voice, right? It's the ability to communicate quickly back and forth and suss out ideas, right? It's just really cool.
Yeah. And I think that, like, along those lines, that's why I think that, although it is a podcast, like the popularity that's come from the Joe Rogan experience, like the fact that he kind of just sits down, and I'm sure he has things pre-planned, but it's a long interview. They sit there and they kind of just let the conversation goes where it naturally would. And I think that, like that, it's an important factor in the way that discussions are made these days. Cause I think that, there was a lot missing on that end. But yeah, no, I totally agree, Mars. That's a fantastic point.
Do you
Um,
guys remember the intellectual dark web, the group of
yeah.
podcasters? I, I just saw Rod Palmer from the Bitcoin Bugle is creating
Yes.
what are they creating? The intellectual Silk Road. That's what they're creating now. I don't even know what
Wait,
it
what is
is.
this?
They're
Is
following
this the
me.
tweet that he put out? Or
Yeah, no, it's even a handle they created. It's called,
Yeah, it's a
yeah, I
handle.
have no idea what it is, but I'm following and I'm waiting with anticipation. It's some play on the intellectual dark
dark web?
dark web that those guys, Joe Rogan and all those guys used to be kind of a gang of. So yeah.
That's super funny. I love those guys. Those guys crack me up, man. They're fantastic to have in the space. We need to get them on the show at some point. I'm gonna hit up Rod Palmer and see if he wants to jump on. That would be super fun.
So funny. Like I die at the content.
The sarcasm is it's so thick. I love it.
Well, it's
Like
still
just there was
pretty.
just some random post last night where someone posted something that gives them an afternoon pickup, and Rod like retweeted it, and he's like, "You should try cocaine." It's just like so good. I just wish I was that funny.
It's funny too because like it's still fairly niche. Like I feel like they're the I don't know, I guess just newest or smallest or whatever. Like they don't have a big following, but they deserve
Yeah.
one. So I'm just like, ever since I first found their stuff, I think it was around the March Maxi Madness or whatever when they did all that stuff. That was when I started following them. And yeah, I see his stuff get posted all the time. and it'll only have like 5 or 6 likes and 1 retweet. But I'm like, man, this is
Yeah.
hilarious. So I try to throw it out there and retweet it whenever I do come across it, because I think it's funny. To your point, Kendall, every time I see their stuff, I'm like, okay, that's funny. So it's pretty rare that I don't enjoy the stuff they're putting out. So yeah, I'm gonna keep boosting their signal with whatever small following I've got, because
I do too. I think it's
it's
hilarious. I
hilarious.
love like reading some of the content, and just the quotes that they have from people are hilarious, and the satire. It's just, I mean, I love it. I do love it. I don't know. They're good.
I have one more worst take of the week that I threw up there that I can't tell if it was cringy or stupid, but this guy, just Monero guys trying to roast Bitcoin, and it's comical. The tweet reads, Bitcoin maximalism is dumb, and he says Bitcoin is most used for crypto and trading JPEGs, which is comical. Litecoin is the most used crypto for peer-to-peer payments. Monero is the most used crypto for darknet markets, and Tether is the most used crypto for the global south. And it's funny to see how many people that are in the space and have been here for a while that are either still in their shitcoin phase or things like that, just to the level that they don't understand what's going on, where they think that the problem that needs to be solved are all of these external problems besides the broken money. It's rough to have to like keep seeing the stuff over and over again. And I think that you guys could probably attest to this too, but I mean, I haven't been in the space as long as some of you. I know that Macro's been in the space much longer than I have, but it just gets exhausting. Like just the bad take after bad take of people and arguments you've debunked 1,000 times, and there are people who are 4 or 5 steps behind, where they should be. I don't know.
Well, this is why way back in the day on the Bitcoin forums, Satoshi said, if you don't get it, I
Yeah.
don't have time to explain it to you, right? I mean, I know we literally are on stages all the time talking about this stuff and explaining it, but at the same time, if you're having conversations with people who are just not getting it, and then you repeatedly go back to the same person and have the conversation over and over again with them, then you're the insane
Yeah.
one, right? And I have a friend like this in real life. I grew up with the guy, right? I've known him since the first grade, and he's on X. I've invited him to come and listen to this show, to even come up on stage and talk with us. Like, dude, come have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation. He is a shitcoiner, but I'm like, I've tried to get through to him since, like, gosh, probably 2020, 2021, when I was like really coming out of the shitcoin phase for myself, right? And even then I was like, dude, I think we've got this wrong. Like, I don't think that's actually, we should be trying to buy and trade all these different projects and stuff. And he is still in that mode now. He is still trying to catch that next, like, crypto pump token, whatever, AI, insert buzzwords here. And I'm just like, I remember how stressed I was when I
Yeah.
was in that state, trying to track 15 projects and hoping that I was going to get a 10 bagger here or there. And it's just like, dude, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't pry, because to my earlier point, it becomes a bit of insanity if you're trying to get to someone who's just not getting it. Some people just have to figure it out on their own, right? But it's like, I, I would have to imagine that unfortunately, his net worth probably hasn't gone up
But
at all since
macro,
that 2020 period.
we got.
And it's like, dude, if let me
Yeah,
finish
yeah,
real
go on,
quick.
go on.
I'm like, dude, if you had just started stacking sats in 2020 and just stopped chasing these 10 baggers, you probably would be up 5-6x
Yeah,
by
for
now.
sure.
But I would venture to say, if he actually did an audit, he's probably down. And it's unfortunate, because I'm like, I'm friends with this guy. I want him to be
Yeah.
successful. I've known him since we were kids, right? And it's painful to watch that. But at the same time, I'm like, I've had to distance myself a bit, because I'm like, anytime we talk to each other, he's like, dude, have you heard about this project? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And I don't want
Yeah.
to. Have you heard about Bitcoin? Come talk to
Yep.
me about it, please. Anyway, sorry, I'll stop rambling.
I was just going to say, we all of us, anyone, everyone, we only get Bitcoin when we deserve it. So Macro, you deserve to get it before your mate did, and it is what it is, and then they'll realize at some point, and they'll be kicking themselves, and I should have bought before. Am I too late? Or we all go through it. Just be there ready for him when he sees the light.
Yeah, and I think to what we were talking about earlier too, Macro, is like we were talking about the NFTs and the banana thing. Like the goofy thing is the way that the quote unquote crypto market is going now is that the ones that are making the most money right now are the meme coins, right? So they're not saying, hey, we don't have look at all the utility that our project has. Look at all look, we'll be able to do this Oracle thing. Look at what we're able to do on this. Like that's not making money anymore. It's just the same thing as the banana. It's like, here is banana, here's picture of banana. You can sell banana, you can make money with banana, right? And that's the way that things are going, because it's just becoming more honest. It's like, here's dog with hat, buy dog with hat, hold dog with hat, make money with dog with hat, And so it's
So what you're saying is actually in the Bitcoin content space, people need to start going backwards and just being like, here's Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, hold
make
Bitcoin,
money with
make money
Bitcoin.
with
Honestly,
Bitcoin.
maybe that's what got me, to be honest. Like the first time I bought Bitcoin, I was like, I looked at the charts and I'm like, oh, the chart looks like a 10x. And I was doing TA. I was a degenerate options trader, and I looked at that and my mouth started salivating. And so and that's when I was like, oh,
100x leverage.
yeah, exactly. Big fat buy. Did a big fat and then you kind of like, oh, okay, what's the actual deal? But Mars, you got your hand up?
Yeah, it's like if you put 100x leverage on a 10x pump, I'm gonna make 1000x in like one summer, and it'll be great. Yeah, I'll be a billionaire before the end of it. I was at that point at
Mars,
one point.
if you take $1, man, and you just 10x it like 10
Yeah.
times, you'll
Yeah,
be a billionaire.
you'll have more money than God.
My favorite one was TikTok investors. If you guys don't follow that page, holy shit. It's just TTI here on Twitter.
Wait, can you share
Yes.
that in the
Oh,
nets? I have
this is
not
the
seen that.
best. This is the best page. Just sheer entertainment. I'll actually look them up
Y-
twice a week
bef-
because yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, before you get on that, I just wanted to say macro. When you were talking about the Satoshi quote of like, if you don't get it, I don't have time for you anymore. There's something to that. Like, if you look at BSVers on this platform, like they literally have no one to talk to. And I know we still like get on stage and we'll debate BSVers, but like if we weren't even to engage in that behavior, like there would be no BSV discussion at all. There is a BSV space that runs 24/7. It's the global 24/7. What is it called? It's running right now. It's called the 24/7 Global Town Square on X.
Don't
Hashtag
advertise it for
Bitcoin.
them, Mars.
And that literally no one's ever in that space. It is the host account and it's running right now and it runs 24/7 and no one is in that space. And every once in a while you'll get people in there, and I was actually in there the other day debating BSVers, but like it really makes me think like, why are we even debating them anymore? It gives them
There's like
someone to
three
talk to,
people.
right? Like,
Yeah.
just snuff the
It's
conversation out. It's dead. Like, let it die. Why are we helping them keep it alive? I don't know. I guess it's kind of fun doing it, but yeah.
yeah, at a certain point you're just causing yourself pain, and you should just drop it, right? And I think TJ handles the BS Veers better than all of us. I think anytime they get on stage, he's just like, yeah, I don't have time for this.
Yes.
You're off my stage.
Yes,
Yeah,
TJ.
And
don't
so
go to their space, man. Don't feed the trolls.
Sometimes I get bored. It's self-serving. It's like I need some entertainment. I need to hear these people talk. I don't know.
No, it's just when you see that space there, just find some Bitcoin space and go in there and drop it in the chat and say, "Hey guys, if you're feeling lonely," and then leave.
No, then what they do is they call you toxic and then they boot you for something very innocent and, fun like that.
I
Then,
wouldn't
you'll
even
get
stay
booted.
that long. just dump it there and say, "Look, see if you can get up on stage and then put it in the nest and then disappear." before they can boot you.
I was listening to one the other day where TC was like starting to get mad because they weren't asking. He was asking them who runs a node, and like they were dodging the question. He's like, no. He's like, who runs a node in this room? And then they like muted everyone. They're like, TC, we don't appreciate your tone of voice. We're gonna have to remove you from stage if you continue on. He was like reeing out so bad. It was hilarious. I loved it. It was like, go TC, go TC.
Honestly.
Yeah, but like I said, like you know, then you think about that and you actually quantify it. It's like, did anything get helped there at all?
No.
And I would argue
No.
no, right? Like nothing got helped. All you did was go into a BSV space with like 3 people listening who are in a cult, right? They're not changing their minds. You're not changing their minds. You're just yelling at the people who are in the cult. And it's like, you know, you can go there to their little encampment and you can say, hey, all you guys, I think you're idiots. But at the end of the day, it's like if the people want to live in their cult in their little, you know, it's like those people, although I guess this is a little bit different, but it just reminds me of, you have these little communist communes that pop up every now and then, and you get like 20 to 40 idiots who come together and they think they're going to live in their little commune and it's going to work. And then you could go there and you could yell at them and you can call them all idiots for it, or you could just let them try and fail and then life goes on. And it's like, I think that's the thing that I've gotten, you know, I'm by no means old and wise, but like between early 20s to early 30s, I would say that's one of the things I've gotten a lot better at, which is just being like, oh, well, that's stupid. Anyways, going on about my day now, you
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
like I'm just not going to waste any time on it.
Go ahead, TJ.
Just threw in the nest thing from the Dr. Bitcoin podcast, Mars. If you're needing some BSV Schadenfreude and just watching that space burn, give that podcast a listen. Also, for
Yes.
anyone who wants to understand just how much of a fraud Craig Wright is and the damage he's caused and why it, despite it being annoying as shit, why it is somewhat important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
TJ.
a good space, a good podcast.
I'm actually coming to the realization that like fighting BSVers at this point is more like going to like a Civil War reenactment. Like the war is dead, but I'm there just to watch and just to reflect on. Like this is for my entertainment at this point. Like you know,
It
like I am
really
here just
is.
watching, yeah, something of the
It's
past.
done, man. It's done.
But
You see, hold on. You see, Mars, I love the way you put that. The way I would phrase it, though, is walking into a special ed classroom and then just brawling with all of the.
Watching a special ed class reenact the Civil War.
Yeah, that's it. That's perfect.
That's the BSB
And then
crowd.
there's like 3 of them in there, and 3
Except
of them
here's
are like,
here's the
the
twist.
South will
They form a
actually
third
never
faction.
win. Go ahead, Dur.
Except here's the twist. They don't actually know their history, so they form a random third faction in order to compete with the other two.
And they think it's still real. And they're there, and they're like, no, this is real, man. And Mars, you're in there going, dude, it's not real. They're like, no, this is real. It's definitely real.
No, Mars
Look
is
at
sitting
it.
there with
There's real
popcorn, and
people on the
TC is screaming at them that it's
It's
not
the
real.
best. It is the best.
Whereas Mars is just sitting there
Oh,
with
man.
popcorn. That's the way to do it.
We now have a duty to keep this debate alive for history purposes and entertainment purposes.
We should have a day, one day
Amen.
a year, where we decide we're going to reenact this, and we'll have a space where we bring on, and then every other day of the year, we can just leave that in the past. Say the Civil War was fought and won, but you got one day a year you come on and plead your case, and then other than that, we're just going to move on.
What do we call the day?
I feel like.
Ooh, that's a great
I
question.
feel like.
And what day should it be?
The small blocks will rise again.
Craig Wright stay in court day. No, that doesn't really work.
I came up just real quick to say you guys have gone too far.
Too far?
For Sapiens to say that, man.
We're straying from the light.
But I did.
Look, this conversation was doomed from the start.
Seriously, we started with
Yeah.
bananas. What the f are we doing here?
No,
started
that
this
was a
digital
necessary
banana
conversation. That was an act, because as funny as
For
that is.
20-something minutes?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Jeez.
Because it's a symptom of the greater illness. And
that's fair. I also did want to draw attention to Macro's great meme. I don't know if anyone had done
it's
that.
fantastic. Everyone go like that meme
Yeah.
because it's great. Retweet that meme as well.
Look, I have the rarest banana. I've won the banana game. None of you can win. All right.
Didn't take my
I'm the
offer.
champion.
So how
I
many
offered
stats for
cryptic
your
banana
banana?
and pickle nana.
Your
Got
low
shot
ball
down.
offer, Kendall. You think I'm just gonna give the rarest
They
banana to
are
you
like
for
of
whatever it
the
was you were
top
talking about?
5 like rarest
Yeah,
bananas.
Pickle nana. Ooh, a pickle
Okay.
nana.
I'm gonna renegotiate. I didn't want to do the golden banana, but I might.
Yeah, but I have the yellow banana. Okay, and it's like
I'm
once again,
formulating an
I have the
offer.
best.
Sleep on it, Macro. Sleep on it.
There is no second best. Okay, mine
We'll
is
have
the
to
best, and
we'll
you're
have
not
to
getting
bring
it.
Yellow
All right,
back
I've
on the
won.
show, and I think here's the thing.
I'm gonna $5 wrench attack your banana.
Exactly. I think Yellow was adamant about a lawsuit against the banana game, and so Macro, you better watch out because if there's anyone he can sue for copying his likeness, it's probably you, man.
Dude,
No.
I'm
a
saying, I'm
supporter.
giving it right now. I'm giving it 60-40 odds. If you don't inscribe this, by the time this recording goes out, some idiot out there is going to inscribe this thing and sell it for like a Bitcoin and a half.
Yeah, but see, I have morals and principles I adhere to, and I will not be shitcoining. Even if I do have a great banana, I'm happy just knowing that I created the meme and I don't need to scam someone else for it, you know? So if somebody wants to go scam, that's their prerogative. I do not support it. And I'm just happy that, maybe I got a laugh or two. That's all I need this
It's
morning.
official and on the record. So anybody who's
Well, he has to say that if he sells it in profits, then there's actually profits for Reddit to or for Yellow to sue for. So, he's got to tell us he's not profiting
That's
off
true.
of it, or
That's true.
there's suddenly proceeds.
Well,
He
as
knows
we
the
said,
space
I
is
mean,
recorded.
Cosmo 100% just wanted to talk about this morning so he could just dump his
all of the
his
bananas
banana
that I've spent
bags.
thousands of dollars on. I'll
How
Dude, it's
many
so
mice
bad.
have you gone through just clicking?
Yeah, I'm on my 4th mouse. Actually, no, I've been using the auto click thing. That's what people are using now. They have virtual machines and auto clickers, and they're just raking in bananas.
I mean, if Homer Simpson got that bird to click yes for him back in the day, that doesn't surprise me.
I get that reference. I actually just been watching The Simpsons for the first time the last few months. So, but so
I think that shows us.
Wait, what? Hang on. Who said they've only been watching Simpsons the first time the last few months? How is that even possible?
I'm only like 28, bro. So I have.
Where have you? So that's no excuse.
I don't watch all that much TV. But so anyway, I got
that reference. I don't get many references, but I got that one.
I put a post from the TikTok investors that I was talking about earlier up in the nest. Literally, the first post on their page right now is the title of the article is "Stock Obsessed Gen Z are using astrology and tarot to invest and swearing by the results to the tune of over $400,000." That's the state of the market right now, you guys.
Wall Street loves it. Wall Street needs some suckers to melt.
Absolutely.
I mean, the quote that comes to mind is TA is astrology for men. So now we've just moved to, once again, being more honest about what we're doing here, which is we're using astrology to try to predict prices because at the end of the day, you can't predict the future.
Yeah.
So that's just what I always
I want to get into some Bitcoin FAQs, but at first, I reposted that little tweet in the nest, the Bitcoin maximalism is dumb tweet, just to kind of get us kicked off on the teacher's workshop answering FAQs. I'm curious as to if you had a friend who approached you like this. Let's say Matt, you had your friend who is who's not quite all there, and he was kind of making these arguments. What would be something that you would respond with? Because I've received this before. This is not an uncommon argument. How would you respond to something like this?
Which one? All of them?
Yeah, sorry. I deleted it and then reposted it in the nest, so it should be the most recent one.
Yeah, I know. I see it. So I'll just read it for those who can't look at the nest right now. This person posted and said, quote, Bitcoin maximalism is dumb. bullet point 1. Bitcoin is the most used for crypto, crypto for God damn it, I can't read. Bitcoin is the most used crypto for trading JPEGs. Litecoin is the most used crypto for peer-to-peer payments. Monero is the most used crypto for darknet markets. Tether is the most used crypto in the global south. I mean, I'm like laughing because I can't even read this without just messing myself up. So, okay, the first one, most used for trading JPEGs. I I honestly don't know how I would respond to that. I need to think about this for a second because I don't think I've ever had a conversation with somebody who's
Who's
had
kind of
a take
this
that
bad?
was like this. Yeah, I think by the time that I would get like, unfortunately, and maybe this is a point where I need to reflect a bit, but it's like anytime somebody comes at me and uses the word crypto seriously, I'm kind of at a place now where I just write
Yeah.
them off, which is for better or for worse, where I'm like, oh, you're using that term legitimately. Got it. Like, we're in different places. And unless you're willing to actually engage in a conversation with me, I don't know if this is going to be worth our
Mm-hmm.
time.
Let's go to
Well,
Sapiens
I mean,
really quick then. We'll have you think that over. Go ahead, Sapiens.
Yeah, so I would not try to break down each point, and I've been asked this question numerous times in different like variations, different forms, and so my answer would be okay. So the question, just real quick, or the statement, the original statement, Bitcoin maximalism is dumb, and so my response to that would be, uh, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. Watch me work. That's it.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's a good approach because I think a lot of the times people, it's like it's the meme of the guy on the from Charlie from It's Always Sun in Philadelphia. That's what this tweet is, right? He's on the blackboard and he's doing, oh, this is, use this one for this and use this one for this and then you do this and this is the best one for, and really what it is, it's like, okay, like what problem are we actually trying to solve here is like kind of the question that I propose to people who talk about these kind of things. It's like, um, especially for people. Uh-huh.
so I was just going to say, I just kind of thought about how I've kind of talked about this in the past with people when I've been on spaces, and the reference that comes to mind for me is we don't need economic Rube Goldberg machines to make
Yes.
stuff work, and maybe that's a bit. I don't know. Maybe that won't land unless you know what a Rube Goldberg
Nope.
machine is, because
It's a,
unfortunately, I've come
it's a
across
little
a
bit in
lot
the
of people who
weeds,
don't.
but it makes sense to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want something done simply, the simplest version is the best way to do that. And at least, I'll use an Elon quote here, which is, the best part is no part. And I do believe that. I don't know if he always lives by that ethos, but I think the quote is very good. And so for a lot of this stuff, it's literally not
Yeah.
necessary. And so you're just adding complexity for no reason. And you don't even know why you're adding complexity, but complexity sounds cool. And because complexity sounds cool, and we think that we're all used to economics being this big, complicated Rube Goldberg machine to steal your wealth, we somehow think that, well, if we just owned the Rube Goldberg machine, everything would be better. And for me, I think this is where most Bitcoiners land, which is, how about we just eliminate the Rube Goldberg machine and don't have it steal from
Yeah,
everyone? And that's kind of probably how I'd
for
respond to
sure.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, that's the funny thing is I feel like sometimes like when we approach these problems, like you're saying, there's like uh as someone who like has developed products, like in product development, that's a huge point. Sometimes you have this need to over engineer stuff, like you want things to be able to do everything, you want it to be incredibly complex, but the more kind of changes and additions, or you want it to do this and this, but it not something can't do everything, so you kind of incorporate more risk into a product when you try to like make it do more than it should. And I think a great example that I heard in a podcast, I think Lynn Alden was talking about it, or Sailor, someone who's a systems engineer. They were talking about like a dart that you'd throw on a dartboard. It's weighted in a very particular way, so it flies forward and straight. And that's what it does. And it'll always do that because of the way it's weighted. If you try to incorporate something else, like if you put a motor on, like you've ruined it, right? You're like, oh, but it'll go faster now. Now it'll go faster. But it's like, look, you've compromised the very thing
Yeah.
that makes,
You changed everything.
yeah, you've compromised the very
Yeah.
reason it works. And so there's a lot, like he has all these things, like there's a bunch of different uses for all this kind of stuff where it's like, okay, what is the system we're trying to fix here? And a lot of people think it's like, oh, it's payments. We need faster payments. So we need bigger blocks. It's like, look, now you've ruined the decentralization aspect, right? And so the idea is that we're fixing the problem. The problem is that the money is broken in this very specific way. And then Bitcoin fixes that. And now that it's fixed, you know, let's look at if we're trying to make payments faster, fine, run an L2 on it. Like there's different systems you can add on top of things like that to make it do what you need it to do without compromising the integrity of the system, which is what all these other shitcoins do.
Well, and this is where you also could say, if you wanted to be, perhaps some Bitcoiners would disagree with me on this, but if you want to be specific, you would say the thing that's actually being fixed is final settlement, even more than money. I mean, final settlement is a function of money, but it's that piece more than anything. I mean, that's at least perhaps like the wicked take on it, right? Is that's the part that needs to be fixed. And I would argue probably, I think I agree with him on it, which is basically that the real issue is like bailouts, the whole banking system, the fact that you can have that base layer be compromised. And I don't know that there is a technically sound way that you could have everybody do some form of self custody, nor do I even know if that's really something that you would desire at a societal level. What really matters is that there's not one group of people that can steal from others by tilting the system in their direction. I don't know. It's an interesting thought, and I think at least more recently, you know, all the ordinals and inscription stuff pushing fees up has made people have to grapple with that reality a
Yeah.
little bit more, because we've been in this wonderful zone of basically free transactions, which is, it's not going to be that way for forever. So it's definitely
Yeah,
something to
it's just
reflect
been
on.
tipping the miners for so long, and we're looking down the barrel of like, you know, transaction fees that are a little higher and things like that. But no, I think that's a fantastic point, just because like, you know, that is the problem to be solved, and you can't solve every problem with something. And so and I'm kind of on the same vein that you are. I'm of the Hal Finney persuasion, where, you know, like you could see banks backing whatever receipts with Bitcoin, and I think that would work, because, you know, that's what's broken is the base money, you know, like the foundation of the money.
Yeah, I think people don't even like the term bank, which is why when
Yeah,
you
everyone's like,
hear
oh,
bank, like
yeah,
everybody's so jaded. Yeah, it's like, you know, if you call it a federation, then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, that's great. It's like, well, it's kind of the same thing. Well, whatever. Okay, yep, federation. We're going with that then, guys. Yay, federations. But it's like, really what you want is just, you don't want the base layer to be compromised more than anything else. And I don't really care what we call it. Is I think it's funny. I just scroll through YouTube sometimes and try to find something to listen to, because, like I said, I'm on the road all the time, and I literally run out of stuff between books and podcasts and things. If you're on the road 20, 25 hours a week, at least for me, I have to go seek new stuff out. And we were talking about the intellectual dark web earlier. There was this Weinstein interview recently, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll bite. I haven't heard any of his stuff, you know, in a while. Not at least since he was talking about gauge theory in the Bitcoin space. I was like, let's see what he's on about now these days. Um, and they were talking, and he was talking about just like general trust in institutions being
yeah,
at an all-time low, and the only way that you really get back from that is you basically have a public reckoning. And I do think that, you know, there's going to have to be, humans have to, we're social creatures, we organize in various ways, and whatever comes out on the back end of this in the next, who knows, 20 to 50 years is going to have to be um, serving some of the functions that organizations serve now. It's just we may not call them the same thing, and maybe they may be structured differently, but They're still going to do the same functions. Somebody's
Yeah,
going to build the roads. It may not be the state of California anymore because they can't build anything, but somebody's going to have to do it, right? Because people need to get from
for
one
sure.
place to another. So
Yeah, yeah. Go
Um,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, my way of looking at Bitcoin these days, like I really try to just boil it down because it can be described or thought of in so many ways, and it'll probably turn into so many things, but like it's particularly when I'm talking to pre-coiners or normies or whatever, is like Bitcoin is, it's a superior monetary policy is what it is, you know, and it is in competition with every other currency that is being infinitely created or inflated away. And the picture becomes pretty clear in my eyes that this sort of thing, Bitcoin, has a role in our modern society when it has such a unique aspect of true scarcity, and it's bootstrapped on a technology, the internet, that is dominating the world, right? It is true digitally native scarcity, and it's the only digitally native scarce thing in the world today, right? Like there's nothing else that currently exists that is only on the internet that does represent scarcity. It's like this idea. I was talking to like a TradFi guy in a TradFi room where he's like, "Oh, Bitcoin's not needed because they can just make crypto. They can make crypto back gold, and that's scarcity." And it's like, yeah, but that still ties to the
Yeah,
physical world, right? You're still taking an analog physical. Something that's analog, something that's physical gold, and trying to fit it on this new world of the internet. I would prefer to have this truly pure digitally native scarce asset where it doesn't mess with trying to connect to the legacy scarce element of gold. It's like, you know, like the internet in my eyes also say is this, that like the internet is in the process of digitizing everything that we know about the physical world, right? It is turning the analog versions into a digital form, whether it be from mail to email, or whether it be from the movie theaters to something like streaming platforms. So like Tether Gold doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Creating Tether Gold is something along the lines of like creating a digital streaming service that still uses the US postal system. It doesn't make sense,
yeah.
right? So I'm getting off on a tangent here, but yeah, those were my thoughts when was hearing you guys
No,
talk.
that's awesome. I think that's a great point too, because I remember when I first kind of got into quote unquote crypto, like I was like, yeah, Bitcoin's awesome, but like, what if you were to back it with gold? And I kind of wrestled with that for a while, and I never really like understood why that's like not even close to possible until like a year or so later, just because like you lose the whole you need to trust someone to hold that gold, right? It has to be somewhere, so someone has to protect it, and you have to trust that person, right? And so I mean there's all of these reasons why these we have to we have to be able to wrap our heads around the fact that Bitcoin is the commodity. There can't be like, because all you turn it in is to bank receipts. That's what it turns into, right? It's 1850 now, and you just receive bank receipts from whatever bank is holding your gold, and you go do your stuff with it. That's what it is. And you don't have any of the protections of Bitcoin, which is it's unconfiscatable and all this other stuff. So no, I'm right there with you, brother. But yeah, let's see. I have let's go over a few more of those because I think there's one more question I wanted to go. So I got this text from a friend 3 days ago who just finished the Bitcoin standard and still refuses to buy any Bitcoin. I don't know how that happens. Someone tell me how you can read the Bitcoin standard and not decide to at least dip your toe in. But his main concern is that Bitcoin doesn't produce anything like Apple, Microsoft, real estate, things like that. There's no production from it. So why would he invest in something that's not productive over something that's quote unquote a speculative, scarce asset? So I'm curious as to your guys' first response and then maybe your meditative response.
I'll go real
Yeah.
quick. It's because it's a nascent asset class and it's worth $1 trillion. And if you compare, the idea is so big, digital scarcity, that it deserves a role in the global markets far bigger than 1 trillion. So, sure, we can get into arguments on whether it produces cash flow or not, but I'm not even concerned about that because it's gonna assume a position of 10, 20, 50 trillion dollars in the global market, right?
Mhm.
At some point. So I am investing in the monetization of Bitcoin. I am an early adopter. We are all early adopters. That is where the returns are gonna come for us at this time. Let's go. Choose rich, baby. Choose rich.
Surfer Jim, you got something to add to that? Welcome to the show, man.
Just give me 10
Yeah, no problem.
seconds. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree, Mars. I think that's why I think it's tough to like force, because I've kind of, I'll be honest, I kind of forced him into the Bitcoin standard. I was like, please read this, please read this. It was probably every week or so I'd shoot him a text, but he's been a friend of mine for about a decade now, so he can handle my chaos. But it's still just never connected because it's different. It's hard to wrap your mind around.
Yeah, but it doesn't cash flow. So I mean, why would you buy it, right?
Exactly.
Uh,
Can
Go
I
ahead,
can
go ahead,
I
Surfer Jim.
can I
no,
respond?
go on, go on, go on.
So fundamentally, what the big picture that many people, when they first look at Bitcoin, what they don't see is the protocol for money, the digital scarcity that Mars is talking about. It has value because it solves a problem. It takes control out of the hands of a small group of people when it comes to money, which messes up the rest of us because they print what they want, as we all know. Um, and unfortunately, we use words like buy Bitcoin. I would suggest that it's more proper to say I'm exchanging for Bitcoin. I'm changing my money, but
Mhm.
that's not exciting.
Yeah.
It doesn't talk about an investment return. The point is not to get an investment return. The point is to get as many units in the future monetary network of the world as possible because its exchange rate value is going to increase. We don't know how soon, but economics indicate that each unit will become worth more because of its scarcity. Once you understand how the system works and how it produces scarcity in a trustless way, where the network is self-verifying, anybody could join. It's got all these properties that are one of a kind, first in human history, very unique, and solves a problem. And so people that see it as an investment are very short-minded about it. They're not recognizing the larger picture of what it is. The fact that just holding it over time is all you need to do, and if you want to play around with investing and trying to increase your fiat wealth faster than the increased purchasing power of Bitcoin, then don't put all your money in Bitcoin, but don't have zero in Bitcoin either, because essentially you're going to miss out on this monetary revolution that's going to do a lot for improving humanity. And if you've got anybody you care about beyond you, like kids or grandkids, you're going to be helping them by leaving them something they may not have the ability to accumulate much of because they're younger. So
Mhm.
to everybody listening, try and get as many units in the future monetary system of the world as you possibly can, because that's what this is all about in the end. It just happens to be going up in value, and some people are getting quote unquote rich, but they're measuring it in terms of fiat. Not, many people have trouble considering measuring their wealth in Bitcoin or the amount of sats they hold, but that will be the unit of account one day, and that's the big picture in my opinion. Thanks for letting me come up and speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That was perfect. And the funny thing is, I had this thought the other day, and I tweeted about it. I put it up in the nest, but like, I think that there's there's something in your brain that kind of changes when you become less concerned about the dollar value of your Bitcoin, and you're more concerned of just getting more, like having, like, it matters not whether or not, Bitcoin is $50,000 a coin or $100,000 a coin. It's about being prepared for what's to come, because once you really understand what Bitcoin is, one, capable of, and two, sure to do, um, it it's almost kind of scary, because you're like, oh, like, the question is, how much time do I have left? Am I going to be left behind? And then you get busy stacking sats. So that was awesome. Thanks, Surfer Jim. TJ, you got your hand up?
Yeah, just wanted to expand on that a bit, because I think Jim's right. Like, he's in the mindset which we very much get put into in the fiat world of investing, which is you need a return on your capital, right? Whereas Bitcoin is savings, it's the return of your capital. So if I have $100,000 and I invest it, I need to get 110 back or whatever. Like that's the mindset he's in. Whereas if I buy 100,000 sats, I just need it to be 100,000 sats, and that's what it's meant to do. It's just meant to return the capital. Because we're so early, that same capital will allow you to buy more. It will have more purchasing power in the future, but it's that change in mindset of investment versus savings, I think, is a large part of it.
For sure. And the difficult part of that for me is that I feel like that is such like a tough conclusion to come to. Like, it takes time and a lot of study to like come to that realization and that understanding and that attitude towards Bitcoin. And so for people who have this mindset of still like, oh, I want returns, I want this to like quote unquote produce something, it's hard to kind of like, give them the orange suppository and force them to understand this the way that I do. And it's a frustrating process, and I think everyone just, like we were saying earlier, everyone just comes to this conclusion on their own at their own pace. And so you just have to kind of assist them along. But yeah, it's kind of difficult.
But in like there are massive asset classes out there that are currently used to store wealth, right? Like with gold being 10 trillion, or bonds being several hundred trillion, or real estate being several hundred trillion. The majority of the wealth that's put in there is for preservation purposes. Those are not YOLOing, get giant returns on my capital sort of assets. Those are where the rich and the major pools of money go for preservation. So, like, if that's what Bitcoin is, which I 100% agree, then yes, like we are going to see outsized returns as it grows into, as it matures into what I was saying, like its rightful position in the global monetary global monetary system, right? So, like, we are early. That is an opportunity I think we should recognize, that like it isn't just that our when we invest in Bitcoin and it goes up, it isn't just that our fiat is going down. It's that we are actually purchasing a larger share of this new economic class at a discounted value. It is undervalued right now tremendously, and we have a major opportunity by putting our wealth into it. As it becomes more mature, we get those gains. It's amazing, right? Like, it's so exciting. We should be preaching this to everyone, I think. I try to, but people rarely listen, as y'all probably know as fellow Bitcoiners. It's hard to convince people of this reality, but it seems so obvious. It seems so obvious. I don't know.
Yeah. And I still haven't come to the decision whether or not I think that shitcoins are good or bad for Bitcoin, because a lot of people argue, oh, it brings a lot of people into Bitcoin, but it also like it like kind of connects. So people like, oh, FTX blew up, so Bitcoin is a scam. So that's a rough workaround, I'll be honest. Macro and then Surfer Jim.
Yeah, just wanted to say real quick, Mars, that the reason you're having so much trouble is because you're going to Civil War reenactments and talking to BSVers, and you got to stop doing that. Maybe you'll have a higher success rate. But no, so anyways, wanted to just
What
ask
the?
you.
Okay, just kidding.
Inside joke. Inside joke.
um, wanted to talk to ask you, Cosmo. Do you know? Does this guy own a house?
Yeah, he's got a mortgage on a house.
Yeah, so I would actually flip it and ask him, does he view his house as an investment? Because if he does, then you say, well, where's the cash flow coming from on
there
your
you go.
home? Right? And it's like, okay, if you're only quote investing in things that have a I don't know, guaranteed return in the form of some kind of cash flow, why do you view your
Mm,
house as an investment? Because it's not, right? It's like it's a consumable good, but it's been, because of the fiat world, it's been turned into an asset we invest in or think we are investing in, because in reality our money's losing purchasing
yeah.
power, right? So I think that's probably how I would approach that conversation with that person. And I've had some success with that approach, although I haven't honestly had that pushback very many times
Mhm.
given to me. But that's probably how I'd
Yeah, I don't
handle it.
want to clown him because he's a buddy of mine, but he's a big fan of Dame Ramsey. So I think that probably tells you all you need to know. Surfer Jim and then Jamie.
I just wanted to answer the question whether shitcoins are good for Bitcoin or not, which I would say unequivocally they're not. But let me quantify that by saying the desire for humans to experiment with new technology will never stop, and I encourage it. It is the equivocation with Bitcoin that I have a problem with.
Mm,
The constant rhetoric that it's a better Bitcoin or it does something that you need that Bitcoin can't do. And when you look at, deep down, especially into the technology and most importantly, the non-decentralized nature of everything other than Bitcoin, there is no equivocation, but there's way too much rhetoric out there that it's essentially lies. It's essentially misleading people into something they they want to capitalize. It's all about this. I want it to moon. I want to be in early and have it go up and dump it, like pump and dumps. All the VCs, it was easy to take advantage of people because it takes a little while to grasp how Bitcoin even works. Most people never even do grasp it. They accept it, but they don't know how it technically works. And
mm,
it's when you get in the weeds like that that you really see why none of these other ones are ever going to make it, certainly not as a money. But again, I'm not against the technology or the experimentation. People should constantly push the boundaries. Just don't lie about it. And I think
yeah.
that's the problem. People are getting wrecked, literally wrecked. People are losing their entire life savings, for because of misleading pump and dump scammers that are in the Bitcoin space that own Bitcoin but pump other shit all the time. They're getting paid by sponsors, whatever it might be. I mean, guys like Pompliano who pumped BlockFi forever and
Mm,
it's crashed and killed, ruined a lot of people. So it's unfortunate. It's going to happen. Part of the reason I sit here and publicly say shit is because people need to hear this, man. Bitcoin is
yeah.
the only thing like it. There will never be another. And I mean, it would have to be a complete redesign of a digital monetary system that works in some completely different way, but comes through with all the same qualities that Bitcoin has finally gotten over 15 years. Its immutable nature, its inability to be turned off, the decentralized nature of it, the permissionless nature of it, the fact that there was no pre-mine, that it hit humanity when no one was looking and only a handful of people cared, the right people. It built around an ethos first. Now it's an investment vehicle, but it was built for money to replace government fiat. There's an absolute accurate reason why Bitcoin is on this planet and why it was given to us by people who were diligently trying to find a solution to a
Mhm.
very major problem that screws over the entire world, which is the control of money by a handful of people. So anyway, thanks.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic take. I think that's the better one I've heard so far because I do agree with you. I think that's a good way to explain a shitcoins is with this new technology. Like, as soon as Bitcoin worked, right? Because there were a bunch of attempts to create something like Bitcoin in the past with like, e-gold or whatever. And then once it finally worked, it was like, oh, this technology is working. And then now everyone wants to just play with it, right? So a bunch of people are playing with it. And unfortunately, you get a bunch of people who, are playing with it and scamming with it and all this kind of stuff. I think that's a good take. Let's see. I think we have Jamie, Mars, and then Jimmy.
Hey, Cosmonaut. Hey, just thinking about your buddy, and I actually have quite a few buddies that they still think about Bitcoin as a stock or an investment that they
Yeah.
can put some of their money, fiat money, into, and if we, because and this is a bit of a fallacy because they just don't think of it as actual money, right? And when we think about the functions of money, a store of value, a medium of exchange, and a unit of account, we're still in the phase of the store of value, right? And so then it's hard to think about money when it's just when Bitcoin's so early in its store of value. But if you think about the properties of money as well, and this is why they get into like, well, what does Bitcoin produce, and they ask all these questions about Bitcoin, and it's money doesn't produce anything. um, and we all believe in fiat money because we're told to. It's fiat means by decree, we're told to believe it. But like the US dollar doesn't actually produce anything productive. It's just, it. And if you think about, again, the functions of money, it has a medium, a store of value. Well, I would argue that it's not. It is a medium of exchange because you can go anywhere and they'll take your US dollars, and is definitely a unit of account. But Bitcoin itself, and the properties of money, it's better than any other money. Like, it's durable, it's divisible, it's portable. The acceptability, that's something that we're still kind of growing through.
Mhm.
It is scarce. It is fungible, right? Although some clowns will tell you it's not. But when you think about the properties of money, that's all it is, right?
Mhm.
And again, uh, all of these friends that we have in our lives, they're not thinking about it as money. And that's why they're like, well, it's like Nvidia produces chips and all this stuff. It's like Bitcoin doesn't have to produce anything. It is just a better form of money. Like the only, and then that you hear this whole thing, it's like, well, what is it? It's intrinsic value. Money does not have an intrinsic value. I think commodity money sometimes in the history of humanity has had intrinsic value. I can think of cacao, for example. Cacao had intrinsic value because it had medicinal and food properties. It
Mhm.
was scarce. Cacao has to grow under this very certain environment, and there's only some amount that comes of it, uh, like into the marketplace every year, and some of it actually degrades. It goes away, and but it's not divisible. It is portable. It is not durable for a long time. It's durable enough, but eventually it just, we made it into chocolate, right? Because it didn't meet all the requirements of money. And yeah, chocolate or cacao had intrinsic value because you could also eat it.
Yeah,
But but money doesn't have to have intrinsic value, and it doesn't have to produce something productive. It is actually the productive thing.
for sure. And I think something I just thought of is I feel like it's probably closer to like a tape measure, right? So it's like, what does a tape measure do? It doesn't produce anything, right? What it does is it gives you information, or it's a tool for production. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but I feel like there are a lot of things that are useful, that are valuable, that don't inherently in themselves, but it's a tool is what it is, right? And that's what money is, and it always has been. It's a tool for communication between people in an economic fashion. So no, I think that's a great take. I like that. Mars, Jimmy, and then Alexander.
Nothing has intrinsic
Yeah,
value, just to be clear. Sorry,
for
Jamie,
sure.
but it's value is in each individual's head, and that's why we all value things differently. The thing itself does not have the value. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and it's like
I agree. I was just using cacao as an example of what may have at one point, but it's no longer money.
I think what he's getting at is that like even like oxygen here, you wouldn't pay a cent for. But if you were on top of Everest and I gave you a can of oxygen and you were hypoxic, you would fork out a lot of cash for that. And so I think it's circumstantial, right? So even like with cacao, maybe in some parts of the world, it's going to be more valuable than others. So in South America, maybe at the time, no one's going to buy your cacao because there's so much of it. But in Europe, people will pay a lot of money for it. So I think that in terms of, I agree with Surfer Jim on that point, where there really is no such thing as intrinsic value. It's extremely circumstantial. But no, I get where you're coming from, and I think that was a good point. Yeah, go ahead, Mars.
Yeah, so as to the question of whether shitcoins are good for Bitcoin or not, I guess like if I want to, I can look at that question through the very narrow lens of the introduction of these ETFs. And like putting aside whether or not the Bitcoin ETF is good for Bitcoin or not, it exists. Let's just assume it does exist. Okay, so it exists. Now, how do I feel about the inevitable and anticipated introduction of the ETF? Well, I can tell you what, I've been disappointed, right? I don't want an ETF to exist. I think there is an argument that some radical Bitcoiners would say, well, let Wall Street build on their shitcoins so they can get wrecked or something like that. But for me, like, I don't want shitcoin ETFs at all. I would rather just have a Bitcoin ETF. I've just spent the last several months going to normies in my life trying to legitimize Bitcoin by saying stuff like BlackRock is building a Bitcoin ETF. And now I have to now say, like, well, they're making an ETH ETF, but that one's bullshit. So, like, I think
This is why arguments from authority are bad.
yeah, but you know what? They
Sorry, I didn't mean to
resonate with
interject.
Yeah.
normies, right? Like, I'm not saying it's something I'm trying everything in the bag to get people to buy Bitcoin. And whatever argument, whether it's Trump is endorsing Bitcoin or Wall Street's getting in with their ETFs, I'll throw the bag at them to try to convince them that Bitcoin is real. And now we have this stupid ETH ETF, and there's probably going to be others, and it causes too much confusion for people. It is a distraction at this point. Shitcoins can die. Let's just have Bitcoin. Focus on the real deal.
Yeah, that would be ideal. And hopefully, things work out in a better way than it seems like they might be working out right now. And but yeah, I've been trying to use that as leverage for talking to people about Bitcoin, and it sucks to have to be like, well, but this is actually, and I feel like I sound dumb when I'm like, yeah, BlackRock is doing the ETH, but it's dumb when you're saying you just made that argument. So to Macro's point, maybe the appeal to authority in hindsight wasn't very smart. But yeah, go ahead, Jimmy. Welcome to the show, man.
Good morning. I just real quick, listening to this, I agree that alternative technologies is great to investigate and look at, but I think we're doing ourselves a great disservice by calling them shitcoins. And it seems simple, just one word different, but I call them casino coins. And with the Mexicans, they immediately look at me and go, "Well, I don't want to gamble."
Yeah.
I go, okay, then you want Bitcoin, and they get it. That just divides all of them immediately. I mean, it's like I don't argue, I don't fight. I've even found altcoiners or shitcoiners not that upset if I call them casino coins. They don't fight back. They don't like get real pissed off. They're like, yeah, I know, they're risky or this or that. They don't have an issue. But you call them shitcoins, it's making a judgment call, and immediately people attack, and immediately people argue with you and fight with you, and oh, what about this one or that one? I just end the entire conversation and say, well, if you're into casino coins, then maybe you want to go to the casino and gamble. And they look at me and like, no, I don't want to gamble. Well, then you want Bitcoin. And that solves it right there. They just take it out of their language. They don't look at everything as shit. They just look at it as like, well, I don't want to gamble. So that's just a suggestion. It's worked really well for the last couple of months. I just talked to ranchers yesterday. And as soon as I said that, they just looked at me, well, I don't want to gamble. This is, I go, perfect. Then you want this. And they got it.
Yeah. And I think that goes to.
That's the first argument that might make me stop saying shitcoin. Thank you. First time I've heard a valid argument.
For sure. And I think that goes to the core of what we were talking about earlier. For those who were here earlier, we were talking about the banana game on Steam, which is essentially NFTs without the extra steps. And we talked about how a lot of like kind of the scams we were seeing like 4 or 5 years ago, they're just becoming more honest. It's just like, hey, we're not NFTs on a blockchain. This is just a picture you can have on your computer, and it is what it is, And I think that with the term casino coins, you kind of like you come to that conclusion with people, right? And that's why if you look at the markets right now, the crazy Oracle, this project, that project, or another aren't getting as much inflows as just the straight up meme coins, right? And I think that tells me at least the market is being really, really honest with itself as to what it wants to do, what it actually is. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's just casino, right? Those casino coins.
Well, and part of that explanation I use is I tell them that casino is a house, right? Bitcoin doesn't have a house. That's the difference. You see, they get it. They go, oh, there's no owner. No, there's no owner. There's no owner of the casino. All the others have an owner, and they get that right away. And they're just like, okay, then move on, and they go with Bitcoin.
That's great. I actually really love that take.
BTC Cosmos, how about casino alts? I think that's, I mean, I always called them ship coins and not shit coins, but casino alts. And guys, what I mean, I want to bring it back what Surfer Jim said, right? I mean, when you go back to the history, that's what I probably would tell your friend, or you said he read the Bitcoin standard. So probably you ask him if he something remembers what he really struck his interest or what he didn't understand. But again, Bitcoin, we solved a 40-year-old problem, the Brazilian general's problem, right? The normie gets this as you cannot double spend. We all cannot double spend. And not only that, this is enforced by decentralized hardware distribution, or at least network distribution, this rule. And I mean, just ask your friend. Of course, is it always more easy to spend someone else's money?
Yeah.
That's what we will change.
Yeah, and to that point, for those of you who haven't seen Guy Swan's video he put out last week, it's a heater. It's a great one, and it's one that I actually used. I was talking to some friends of mine about the things he was saying the other day, just because like what you're saying, it's like the idea is if I make 1 million sandwiches and I make $1 each, then I have a social contract with the rest of the community of 1 million units of service, right? But if it is easier to replicate the money than it is easier to work to make the money, then you have a serious problem. And to your point, Alexander, like I think that's kind of the core argument of Bitcoin, especially in the Bitcoin standard. And I think that there's
You're cheating on one side. You're
yeah,
cheating on the proof of work side. Or
yeah,
I'm sorry, on the opposite side of proof of work, let's say. Yeah.
right, yeah. But yeah, and I think that the tough part with some of these friends that I have is that a lot of them are pretty risk averse, and so even when you do kind of have a broad understanding of what's going on, or really kind of dive into what Bitcoin is, there's still kind of some hesitancy there because it seems risky, right? Because it's so volatile, and it's hard to be like, look, like the volatility, like we were talking about earlier, the volatility doesn't necessarily matter, like what TJ was saying and what Surfer Jim was saying. It's about getting the units. It's not about like I don't care what the dollar value should be. It's about, moving and getting units in the new monetary system.
Accumulation.
For sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of.
Sorry, Cosmo. I don't think my hand's showing. I've had my hand up for a while.
Oh yeah, I can't see it.
On the desktop, and it's a nuisance. On the investment thing, and want a return on investment. I completely agree. I think it was Surfer Jim said about. I'm not sure if it's Surfer Jim saying about when you buy Bitcoin, it's not buying, it's exchanging. And I love that. Completely agree with it. And it's true for anything. And whenever you buy something, yeah, you are buying whatever you're buying, but you're also selling the currency that you're exchanging for it. So everything is a buy and a sell, and it's an exchange. So that I like that. And the other thing is, if you want to invest to get a return on your investment, so if you want to invest in something which is going to be more productive than Bitcoin, well, then a place to do that, and of course all investments are risky, but it's the kind of thing that Jeff Booth is doing with Ego Death Capital, and there are others who have similar funds for Bitcoin startups, for stuff that's being built in and on Bitcoin, or however you want to explain that. But Bitcoin needs things built on it because we can't have 8 billion people using Bitcoin layer 1. It just is physically impossible. So there needs to be stuff built on to give the scalability for which you are sacrificing an amount of centralization. But these things are needed. And if it's a Bitcoin business, then the revenue that business brings in that is Bitcoin, and it's going to grow faster than Bitcoin if it's a successful business. And similar kind of as a real world example of what I'm talking about, it's why I am invested, not huge amounts, but it's why I'm invested in Bitcoin mining stocks, because they are Bitcoin businesses. It's in the fiat world because we live in the fiat world, but they return exponential gains on Bitcoin. Generally speaking, do your own research. This is not investment advice, but the Bitcoin miners, for me, is why I'm investing in them, because they will broadly, if they perform as they have in the past, do a 3 to 5x on Bitcoin, and it's rewarded me very well so far, and continues to do so. And with the profits, I can buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the investment side for me, because it's something.
Yeah,
Yes, I got Bitcoin.
risky business, brother. But
Yeah,
I wish you all the luck in the world. No lie.
My
Risky
opinion.
business. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is risky. It really is. It really is.
My opinion on that is that, like, okay, if you're at the end of a game and your team is up by 10 points and you have a hat trick and your stats are great, you had a bunch of steals, bunch of goals, a bunch of assists, I don't know why I would risk the game to get another 2 points ahead. That's kind of how I feel about it. It's like you already won with Bitcoin. So in my thought, it's like there's a lot, you take on a lot more counterparty risk with some of these minor companies. Maybe something's going on, something fishy. You can totally do that if people feel comfortable doing that. But I'm kind of the opinion, it's like, I don't know if I'd want to exactly take that risk. But let's see, we got Surfer Jim and then go over to Bradley.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I was going to comment on the ETF, the ETH ETF thing. It goes back to the significant technical differences between Bitcoin and everything else. And I would suggest that the people who give the rest of the world permission, the people who identify as government, especially Gary Gensler, he knows how Bitcoin works and he knows the difference. And so what they're allowing for is the ability to really, really manipulate the market around Ethereum, because development on Ethereum is very centralized, and you pay the right people to put out the right narrative to pump the price, and then in the future put out a narrative to dump the price on purpose, knowing it will rebound because you'll pump a new narrative. That is way, way different than anything possible like that on Bitcoin. Certainly, people can pump narratives, but they can't affect the actual underlying code like wealthy people could in the Ethereum ecosystem, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of other people. It's not decentralized, and the fact that Bitcoin runs on hundreds of thousands of individual nodes who all have to agree, whereas Ethereum, that's not the case. It just changes the nature of how manipulatable the underlying protocol is. Bitcoin acts more like a real commodity, like dirt, like gold, like something that came out of the earth that humans don't actually get to control. Even though it was programmed by humans, it acts like a real commodity, and it's fair under the rules that have been instituted for it to have an ETF. I would say Ethereum doesn't equate in any way, and it's a ploy for rich people to find another way to exploit money out of unsuspecting noobs who equate everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good point. That's a great take. Bradley, had your hand up. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, friends. How are you?
Doing great.
I didn't want to interrupt Jim's flow. That was really good stuff, Surfer Jim. Been listening in a little bit on and off this morning. Really interesting conversation. I just lost my thought. Come back to me. It'll come back.
All right. Okay, well,
was it about mining?
Bananas.
Yeah, we talked about mining stocks.
Yeah, it was about the bananas.
It was a little bit. All right,
The
thank
bananas.
you.
Mining
Jamie,
bananas.
my question was
Cookies. It was about cookies.
Go ahead, Brad. I think
something along those lines.
Oh, you cut out. Try again.
All good. Jamie, I was just curious. So talking about investing into things that are built on top of Bitcoin, specifically with mining, if you're going to invest in mining companies with the goal of eventually just obtaining Bitcoin, why don't you just go mine Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Because that's a capital expense I can't afford, but I can afford to buy shares that are within my price range.
Yeah, solo mining is a train wreck. Like it's a huge headache if that's what
Don't
you're
you
talking
dare,
about.
Sapiens.
What's up? No, wait, what?
Them's fighting words. Kendall
Okay,
will
no,
agree.
Boot 'em.
no. I know it's possible, and I know it's doable, and I know people do it, but like, I guess it just depends on what outcome you're looking for. Like, it's not hugely profitable. Let's just say that, like solo mining. Yeah, I mean, Kendall, obviously you have more, you can get in more into the weeds than I can, but I don't think it's like a money maker just to like running a miner.
Go ahead,
I mean,
Brad.
No, it's not a
yeah.
moneymaker unless you hit a solo block. I'm just teasing with you. I love solo mining, and I am going to hit a solo block, and then we're all going to go on a little vacation together.
Well, now we're
Sapiens, I'll still
talking.
let you go.
Now we're talking.
Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
real
yeah.
quick, I just threw in the nest Kendall's setup. If you guys are curious on how she does her solo mining, it's up there.
And then my new house with immersion mining that I'm very excited about. We'll have an open house. My new
Nice.
house in
That
Austin, Texas.
You fancy. You
that was a
fancy.
seriously impressive setup. The picture that was shown yesterday with that immersion mining, it really was.
HGX was going to town about that.
Go ahead, Brad.
I feel like I keep interrupting the flow. Curious though, I mean, you talked about profitability. I mean, wasn't that part of the conversation just to acquire Bitcoin? Like, so do we need to shift what the words of profitability mean in the context of Bitcoin?
This is for me with the profit is Bitcoin. The only reason that I would invest in something is if I believe it can either outperform Bitcoin, so I can buy more Bitcoin, or B, it is so steady that it means that I've got something to protect me because I have to spend fiat, so something to protect my capital in the times that Bitcoin potentially draws down against fiat, such that I can still live. So that's two investments. One would be something that's very stable and roughly follows inflation, quoted, officially stated inflation, or something that massively outperforms Bitcoin, so I can buy more Bitcoin.
A business won't necessarily outperform Bitcoin, though. You've got to look at your especially depending on timing. If you've got a bunch of upfront cost and then you're earning revenue over time in Bitcoin, like you've really got to look at the profit and loss denominated in Bitcoin over time. Before, like for these investments, and it's really taking on a job as an investor again.
It's a lot of work keeping up with all this stuff, and there's a lot of work and research and things you need to keep track of and be on top of, and yeah, it's not easy. Nothing's easy, and investing is about taking risks, whereas Bitcoin for me isn't an investment, it's a store of value. It's, as Mars was saying, it's the future of money.
Hey guys, really quick, I'm going to jump in here. So I'm going to let Macro finish out this space as co-host. I have to go catch an Uber to a plane. So next week, hopefully we'll get the panel that we're looking for. We're going to talk about building a brand, and especially in Bitcoin. I think it's going to be a great discussion. So come by for that. But I will be coming to you at 2 a.m. from Hawaii next week. So I might be a little tired, but it's going to be an awesome discussion. So I'll let Macro take over from here. See you guys.
Cosmo is going to be hammered on a beach somewhere in Hawaii. He's going to be slurring his words.
It'll be fun.
Honestly, if you're not, I'm going to be a little disappointed in you. I'm not going to lie. So I'm looking forward to that. He's gonna hop in. He's gonna be like, guys, I got so many bananas.
Someone buy my banana, please.
I need
Please
this
buy my
Hawaiian
banana.
banana. Pina colada
Yeah,
banana.
See you guys.
Have a good trip,
see ya.
Cosmo.
All right, sweet. So this is now the Mining and Energy Show. Thank you all for showing up. We're
Woohoo! We
already
did
on
it.
stage.
It's my house
This
now.
is yeah. We've got Brad, we've got Kendall, we got Petro. I mean, it's basically a successful 51% attack, and we didn't even have to try. I mean, Kendall's got her bid axes in the nest. What else do we need, guys?
We need
The question
we need
is,
Bitcoin pool heating. That's what we need. We need because look let's be real. Who is going to put a miner that needs at least 240, at the wall, 220, right? Like who's going to do that without heating their pool? Come on, let's be real.
Kendall, is so your 240 volt bid axes? Is that what you do with the heat from those? You heat your pool, or
You
what are we
guys
doing with
saw
that?
how I heat my pool
I
yesterday.
was just thinking that we know how Kendall's
You
pool's
know how I
heated.
heat my. It's a barrel filled with wood. But I'm gonna learn how to take
It's a
one
fire in a
bid axe.
barrel.
It's a fire in a barrel. Yeah. So that's the setup now, but I would like to do mining. Probably not with the bid axe, but I know the mining thing is possible. I saw the hash tub. I mean, the setups exist. I'm not smart enough yet, but I'm gonna get there.
Hey, I know a thing
My
or two about
understanding is
heating
somebody's rolling it
water.
out.
So
Bradley might know something about this, but my understanding is the guys from that are working with What's Miner. I'm blanking on their name right now, but the guys that do their cooling systems for their hydro units, they're supposed to be rolling out a 110 unit for this application.
Yeah, they're
interesting.
working on it.
How far along is that, though? Is the question.
Well, they've done a proof of concept before. It's just how do you deploy it in scalable fashion? It's an engineering problem,
That's fair.
macro.
I like those. Those are fun. Well,
I mean, what is it?
depends.
It's one miner equals like three room heaters, 3 room heaters. As far as like the total amount of heat that they can push. So if they've already got the heat pump side of it kind of figured out, it should just be a standardized pool plumbing job. But I don't know what else I'm missing.
Or heat exchanger.
Yeah,
I
it's
knew
the
you
heat
were gonna
exchange.
answer, Dr. Detroit.
Orange.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
you
then
can buy $130, 400,000 cubic foot heat exchanger for about $150. I mean, that's not expensive.
There wise will find $5,000 worth of things that you're missing.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, to
No,
contract it.
I'm saying that there is the heat exchanger part at the miner, right? Like that's what the
No.
guys that are currently doing the setups for Watts miner. That brings the water to and from the miner and then to and from some kind of dry cooler. Plus your thermocouples and all that stuff. What I'm saying is you're going to drop cold from oh sorry,
Said.
if you're gonna draw cold from a pool, you need an additional heat exchange.
Now, if you had a hydro miner, that would work actually. If you had a bunch of hydro miners and just pump it through the miners and just recirculate constantly.
I think the concern you have there, and this is literally my wheelhouse, right? Is what is the quality of that water that's hitting the hydro side of that miner? Because most of your swimming pools are going to be chlorinated. You're going to probably have a bunch of issues, I would guess, in a relatively short time span, unless you could add some sort of corrosion inhibitor to your pool, which would get interesting. I mean, you could figure it out. I just don't know how likely I would be to want to swim in it. I'll just put it that way.
That's a good point.
Well, so what you got to do is you got to do a two loop system. So you are looping the coolant through a secondary heat exchanger. The secondary heat exchanger is got the coolant flow on the inner loop and the pool water on the outer loop.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably the much safer way to do it for both your equipment and your your body, depending on what you would have to put in the pool. So I think if you did that closed loop, you could do like an inhibited glycol thing or something maybe, and just have it run, and then yeah, then you got Kendall's pool set up done without the wood fire.
Yeah, that's been a lot of work for me, so I would appreciate something.
Does that mean that Kendall's pool heating will now be ESG friendly?
They make for like
wood is biomass, Jamie. I don't know if you knew that or not. They've been cutting down all the forests in North Carolina and sending that over to the Europe, so it's green. They pelletize the wood, and it's now biomass, so that carbon does not count.
So that's okay then. There we are. Is that what?
Yeah, you guys in the UK are burning.
Is that what Germany's buying?
US, man.
Yeah, there's so many things that are happening all around the world, so it's always affecting all those things. Like, you know, if you want it to affect those things, but if you don't, you'll be all right. But obviously, you know, you got to have some security. You got to invest in those securities, I think. And, you know, there's nothing more important than your own opinion in those investments. That's what I think.
I think I'm getting trolled right now.
To be clear to everybody
Hey,
who isn't
no
aware,
trolling.
I was joking. I was trolling Kendall.
We're already boiling pools anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But can you learn it?
You are not helping the narrative, Kendall.
Like, where can you learn about the markets, the Bitcoin markets and all of this stuff?
You're here.
Yeah, this is about
front lines.
All right. Well,
just don't trade.
Yeah,
buy and hold.
Well, it doesn't feel
That's
like
all I
it.
would
You know,
say.
you guys are all talking about some other stuff, not like the.
Yeah, we're talking about using Bitcoin mining to heat a pool right now, so you get more efficiency,
100%.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna spend that energy anyways to heat your pool, or in Kendall's case, you have to go out and split wood with your bit axe, and you're using that. Yeah, you see what I did there? No, but on a serious note, right?
So good.
If you're looking to be efficient in your life with your energy expenditure, and you're going to spend that money on that energy anyways, you might as well use it to mine Bitcoin and then capture the heat in whatever way, whether it's your hot water heat or heating a space, it could be a garage or something, doesn't really matter, a greenhouse. Anyways, if you're capturing that heat, you're just being more efficient in general with your money, right? And we've talked about a whole bunch of stuff today, but this is absolutely not a space where we're going to get up and talk about trading or trying to make a quick buck, because that's not the actual ethos of Bitcoin. We're here to fix the money. That is the main reason that we talked about earlier, right? Bitcoin solves one problem, and the problem that it solves is fixing the money. And once you fix that, everything else then it makes a lot more sense in the world. But if you're looking for like market analysis, then this is probably not the place, just to be honest. And with that, we're actually pretty much at the top of the hour, so I'll just go ahead and move to close out here. Thanks everyone for coming by. I had a fun conversation today, talking about bananas and all kinds of other stuff. So,
Hey, Macro,
always,
real quick, if you don't mind, I want to plug. We have a meetup today in Fort Worth. The Fort Bitcoin meetup is going to be live this evening at 6 p.m. We're going to be at the Side Saddle Saloon in the Fort Worth Stockyards. So if you are in the DFW area, come to an in real life person event.
Heck yeah!
Thanks.
No, that's awesome.
Thanks a lot, everybody. And
yeah, for sure.
Have a awesome time.
Macro, thank you for the financial advice.
Yes, absolutely. Although I will say, probably don't use your BitX to split wood, because that will probably break it.
Mhm.
And that
And my
is
heart.
financial advice. You can take that. Yeah, you can take that to the bank. But no, so anyway, it's going to actually close out now. As always, we do this every day, 8 to 10 a.m., covering different topics, and 8 to noon on Saturdays. And then I think Brad may have a quick message, so I'll pass it over to him real quick, and then we can close it out.
Come hang out and learn mining at Miner Mastery. I dropped the thing up in the nest. Per Kendall's request, we continued the Father's Day special through Friday at midnight Central. If you go type in the promo code Big Papa, okay,
Which
that's
I
Big
haven't had a
Papa.
chance to say that I appreciate that code. Very fun.
Thank you. This is me trying to make mining a little more fun and less technical. There's enough macros in the world. We need a little fun in mining. So Big Papa is the code. We love you, but go put it in. Usually tickets are $379. That drops it down to $100. The other thing to keep in mind that we figured out in our math, if you're planning on going to Bitcoin conference, and if you want to go to the Nashville conference, all of the stuff, if you buy your ticket for that through us, you get basically 2 for 1. So you can go to the Nashville conference and Miner Mastery if you buy your ticket through us. So just keep that in mind. Just so you're all aware, a lot of supporting this show and everything has come from resources from my company at the moment so far. So if you're supporting the event, you're also supporting the Bitcoin Daily Show. Just throwing that out there so everybody understands the connection, which is why the Bitcoin Daily Show is putting on the opening reception as well. And it's at Nissan Stadium, home of Nashville's professional football team. You can put 2 and 2 together. But guys, we're trying to make sure that there are connections. This is the community. We're building bridges. We've got a number of people from some of the other surrounding events coming, like the Unconference, the Meet Premier Bitcoin, all of that. They're coming into our event. We're going to their event. All of this is about sharing the resources, sharing knowledge, and having that cross-pollination. So we're owning mining, and a lot of other people are owning other pieces of it. And the Bitcoin Conference is the big culmination, I suppose. So go support these events. They're meaningful. They're people putting in their time, their energy, even if it's not Miner Mastery. Go support one of the other events. It's really important. It's how we get more professionals and more people talking about this and teaching and being willing to put in time and energy. So appreciate you all. You all have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.